either Design Digest or Design Impact Hour if you join from SAP. This event is a collaboration between SAP, UX Associates, and O'Reilly. Uh, SAP is our sponsor for this series of events. Previously, I was as a part of UX Associates in Czech Republic. I was organizing these events, and now SAP is sponsoring us if there will be any events in person in Brno. And then with the O'Reilly, they are supporting us for giving away free ebooks for the next event. If you are joining from UX Associates, this event is Design Digest, and if you are from SAP, it will be Design Impact Hour. But in the core, it is all the same thing. These sessions, we would like to focus on the micro interaction, designing with details. So whenever I'm going to a kind of museum or anywhere that there is a sculpture, what is always grabbing my attention is all the details that you can see on a sculpture. And by its core thing, it's really amazing to see how beautiful it is. But one thing that it always makes me kind of more satisfied is the details that I see and those details that I haven't seen it before. And each time it makes me kind of more engaged with the core things and with the art. And I feel that our products and our services are kind of the same thing. They are really nice to have the core functionality, but once it is memorable for the user to have more of these details, that they make them kind of more engaging and having a feeling with our product. So that's all this book is about, how to design our product or services to be more kind of memorable and engaging for the user. But why we are here? What is the unique thing about this series of events? These events are unique by its own because we are going through UX literature and we are not only reading them, but also we are going beyond them and designing some kind of hands-on activity or inviting the authors to give us some more feedbacks to learn from this literature. And I would say that it's not always, the theory can always be theory if we are not having any hands-on activity. So once it changed to a kind of workshops, or it can be changed to something that challenging our kind of knowledge, then it makes more impact. It is really valuable because we are selecting the books based on the community needs. For example, for the next event, it will be based on this is the service design doing. And because this is a kind of amazing book with so many kind of possibilities to learn, we will focus on one chapter or some kind of limited topics so we can get best out of the kind of workshop. And at the end of these sessions, there will be a kind of questionnaire that I would like to ask you to fill it in and just let us know which topics you are more kind of interested to hear more. And this event is that you are not, if you won't feel like, or if you don't have enough time to read the book, it is okay. I'm just reading it and giving a digest of the book, and then we are moving to the workshop section. So don't feel ashamed or don't feel the pressure if you can't read the book or if you are reading it kind of partially. If you have finished it previously, it's all okay. You are more welcome to be here. And as I mentioned, O'Reilly is supporting us with giving away some between 5 to 10 ebooks. If you are interested to receiving, this is the service design doing for the next event, which is going to be late October or early November. You can fill in the questionnaire and I will reach out to you later. And the last but not least, if you would like to contribute for the next event, you are welcome and please reach out to me because this is something from the community for the community. And we would love to have you here and kind of seeing and kind of sharing our expertise together. Right, that I would like to move to agenda. So Today's agenda is that I would like to discuss about what is the microinteraction and what is the structure of it. And once we understand the structure, we will discuss about how to incorporate it into a current product or kind of future product. And to understand it better, I will give some examples from different kind of areas. And after that, we will have a Q&A. If there's any questions, you can just ask me. And if you have any kind of micro interactions that you would like to share with us, this is a place to share. And then we have the best part of it that we will work on some kind of examples to see how to kind of design a micro interaction. And here I just would like to introduce your host. It's me. This time it is me and Teresa. I know that you expect that Maria will be here. Unfortunately, there was some kind of personal problems today, and it was very last moment, so she couldn't join the call. I'm Elham, and I'm a UX designer in SAP and in Brno, based in Brno. And Teresa is our another host that she is doing the facilitation today, and whatever any kind of these amazing visuals that you can see through the fictions and this and the ideas about the workshop is coming from Teresa. I really appreciate it, and thank you, Teresa, for being with me through this process. It's a kind of 1 month planning, so I appreciate it for the time that you invest for this event. So
Thank you for organizing this for us.
thank you. It's all my pleasure. Great. So let's start the topic. What is microinteraction? I really like this metaphor of a sculpture as we discussed. Let's just consider a sculpture by its own that it has a simple dress. So once we have a dress on a sculpture, it means that it is not naked anymore. But once this clothing or this dress has more details as a sculpture, then this is the point that we see, and it creates that delightful moment for us that we see, oh my God, it is too detailistic. And then you will spend hours and hours to just going around and seeing all those details. So micro interactions by their own, they are just those small details that we are adding on the core of our application or our products or our feature. That if you are removing them, like those details from a dress, still that sculpture is not naked. And if you are removing the same details from your product, still it is working and you see that the core thing is happening and it's fine. But once you're adding them, it means that there is more engagement and it's more delightful moment and make it kind of make a difference comparing to other products. So microinteractions are just those functional and interactive details of a product. And details are not just the details, they are the design. So here I would like you to go to kind of this page. This is the sixth page on the presentation. And let me know that from your perspective, do you think that microinteractions are features or not? I will wait here. We are around 16 people, and I will wait until we have at least 7 votes, and then I will move. You can have the links in the chat. And yeah, I see 2 people voted. I'm waiting for 5 more. Anyone would like to vote? Do you have the link? It is in the chat. Yes, 3 people. It is on the 6th page. Is in 2 more, and then we can proceed. Amazing. So it is 8. Exactly. Yes. Do you think that the micro interactions are features? 70% mentioned yes, 30% said no. And I would say no. Microinteractions are just those small and single use within a product. And as I mentioned, if you are removing them, still your product is working. But once you are adding them on top of the core of your product, then it's the moment that you see that a micro interaction is working. And if I want to give you an example, for example, consider a music player. In the current music players, the core functionality is playing music, but once you can just adjust the volume inside the application, then that's the micro interactions that we are talking about. Yes, you can just changing the volume from the buttons that is provided on your mobile phone, but once this music player is giving the ability to you to adjusting it through the applications, which means that, for example, if you are listening to music and just another kind of YouTube video is playing, so you can adjusting to see which one you want to hear more or you would prefer to be louder. So this is the difference between micro interactions. If I removing this adjusting volume, still our music player is playing the music. So the core thing is there. So nothing changed. But the difference is when we are adding it. So I think that here we are all on the same page, that we understand that micro interactions are different than the features. Then I would like to go and to the next part and talking about the structure of micro interaction. Before moving here, I would like to share with you one of my childhood memories. I'm not sure about your childhood, but when I was younger and we were living in a city that it was a very small city, so there was not that much of car around in my street that we were living, so it was okay to kind of play football in the street. And that time I was the only girl of that area, so I was playing most of the time football with the other guys. And we had a new neighbor that they were kind of old lady. And whenever we were playing, sometimes time to times it was kind of happened that our ball was thrown away to their kind of garden. And then we needed to go there and ask her, please, could you please give us the ball? Here it was a kind of nice twist that if I was going and asking her that, sorry, the ball is in your garden, could you please give it to me? And she was so kind and giving it to me. But when it was I wasn't there and the other guys needs to go and ask her, she was so angry and just uh, cutting the ball with the knife and then throwing it away. So then we were collecting these plastic balls and using them, but the idea was that she was kind of making a difference between two of us with the same kind of cases. And if these things happens against and against in a row, then she was taking a kind of bigger action and going and talking with our parents that, yeah, you need to just do something why they are making so noises or why they are doing this and blah blah. And when I was reading about the structure of microinteractions, it came to my mind this memory because microinteractions are really the same thing as we humans are doing time to time with our behaviors. That sometimes something is triggering, something as an external is coming to the kind of system and giving a kind of trigger something like it can be a button, it can be a kind of system update, or it can be something completely on the touch screen that the user is touching somewhere. But by its base is that it always starts with a trigger that change the state of the system. Then system is going and checking the rules to see that, okay, this is this trigger with this state. So what is the reactions that I need to do? And based on the rules that it has, it's giving a completely different feedback. Sometimes it can be visual, like the time that you are increasing the volume on your mobile phone. And then you see that, okay, it is just a kind of visual thing that is increasing, or sometimes you have a kind of headphone or you have a AirPods and it just after from a moment it's giving you the feedback that it's kind of problematic for your ears because it is pretty loud. So It's just checking all the states that it has and all the triggers that is around and then giving you a feedback. And sometimes the feedbacks can be just like vibrations on your mobile phone. When you're once you're putting it on the vibrate mode, then it just vibrates so you know that it's happening. And then it can be a loop. In the loop, sometimes we are learning from the previous stages and we see that if it's happened timed a lot, then definitely I need to change my approach, like our neighbors that was going and was talking to parents, or like your mobile phones that once you are putting it on your in the silence mode, it will stay still silence. And sometimes it is like this that you are increasing the volume and it will kind of increase. And then next time that you are increasing again, the same kind of feedbacks will be shown. So here in the loops, we can have different kind of approaches. That's all as a structure of micro interaction. So when we are discussing about or designing a micro interactions, we need to know that these are all the four stages that we need to think about. Sometimes a micro interaction is only focusing on the triggers, how to make the triggers more kind of easier for the user. Sometimes it's about the rules. We see that we have complicated rules that it's not easy to kind of communicate with the user, or the states are kind of confusing. And sometimes it is for the feedback that we feel that, okay, maybe for this case, vibration is not okay and we need to use the visuals, or maybe the visual is not even okay and we need to use some audio feedback. And for the loop is right now with the AI, we know that we would love to learn from the user and make it more generated. But sometimes we feel that, okay, it is just enough to be a one time loop in some, and other time, no, we would like to learn more and changing kind of based on the times that it's happened. Now I would like you to help me with the other kind of feedback. It is on the slide number 8, and as I mentioned, I will wait until we have 8 responses. And I would like to ask you, do you think that animations are micro interactions? Because when we were searching about finding a kind of good example of micro interactions, time to times we came up with the pages that they are just animations. So I would like to know your opinion here, and then we can discuss because it was one of the topics that we were discussing within the team. Nice. So, 11% yes, 20% no, and 67 yes can be. Yeah, I would say that no, because animation can be just considered as a part of micro interaction and is counted as a feedback, as we discussed. So, animations is a feedback that we are just communicating with the user to informing that, okay, there was something triggered, there was some rules, and I'm giving you feedback that this happens. Let's consider it with the kind of Twitter. The core thing in the Twitter is that you will tweeting. So the liking can be a micro interactions because there is a trigger that you are touching a heart icon, and once you are touching it, there is an animation that for a moment it will getting bigger and then smaller. So this is the animation as showing the user in a feedback that yeah, you like this tweet. So or count or increasing the count that we see that okay, it has impact on the system. And by that we are saying that the animations are not micro interactions but part of it. So once we are working on the kind of workshop part that we have different exercises, I would like to here to remind you that if we are adding some animations through our product, it doesn't mean that we are giving some more micro interactions to make it memorable. Sometimes it is completely unnecessary and we don't need it. So here I just wanted to mention here, and I'm glad to see kind of right now we are all in the same page. Now it's the next questions. Okay, now we know what is micro interactions, we know what is this structure, how to incorporate it into product. I would like you to just unmute yourself and giving me feedbacks if you have any opinion on that. Uh, have you ever experienced how to incorporate the micro interactions into a products, or do you have any opinion here? I will count to 5, and if no one will kind of unmute themselves, then I will continue. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Still, okay, 5. So we can have kind of different approaches for microinteraction. Sometimes you are checking your system and seeing that, okay, there are some microinteractions by intentions or not, they were designed, but still there is a space to improve them. And that's one way to incorporate them. So you are iterating on a current and existing microinteraction. And sometimes you realize that you have a kind of complex feature that is really confusing for user, and it might be tiring, and you would like to make the process more delightful. And here you are coming to redefine the feature with having an eye on how to kind of make this process to be more delightful and adding micro interactions on this level. So you are taking some part of the features and turning them to the kind of being a micro interaction. Or sometimes you see that, okay, uh, your whole process is missing and it is just some too straightforward. And here again, there's another way. So in any way that you feel it can be more delighted through the process, it's where you can add your micro interaction. Now I would like to move to the kind of example parts. This is one of the examples of the book that I really enjoyed when I was reading it. And it's about the time that they wanted to change this process of buying the kind of tickets for trains to be more kind of can be you can buy it by your card. So they needed to use the touch screen. If you feel so the idea was that we need to introduce the touch screen for them and telling them where they can start. And once they start, then once they learn the first step, then the next step is much easier for them to select the kind of ticket. So first thing that we need to focus on that, how to teach them or how to make their mental models about touching the screen. So the first step was that they added a start button. And as you see here, there are kind of more visual hints like a hand that is showing that kind of you need to touch. And there's another thing that touch start to begin. And everywhere you see some kind of sign. And from here, we feel that all these visual things are the micro interactions in this step. But I would say that no. The core micro interaction here is that the whole screen is touchable. So once the kind of user is touching anywhere, they get that okay, this is the kind of thing that they are asking me to do, and there the mental model is built. So it was very insightful for me to reading about this example. And the second one, as we discussed, is about silencing your mobile phone. Here, you have the experience that once you are putting your mobile phone by a trigger that you can switch it from the kind of silence or not, but with a button, then you see that there is a visual hint on the screen that shows that there is no sound anymore. And after that, it is moved to kind of top part as icon, and you see it all the time. So it's like this that this loop is still stay the same until we will just switch to make it reverted. The difference between these two examples is that in the first example, once the user finishing the process of buying the ticket, it is again kind of reset to its first kind of state that it just like touch start. But in this case, the loop is kind of waiting until you are changing the states from the silence to kind of mm, you can hear the notification. So these are the rules. And if you are trying to put it again up, it's still keeping the same. So the rules is that if I'm in the silence mode, I'm not changing anything. And the third example that I would like to discuss here is again through the touch screen. So as you know, in the touch screens, you can pull to refresh a mobile app. So it's a kind of trigger that once the user is pulling down, it the rule is that once they are pulling down kind of far enough, then the app needs to send a request for updating all the things and checking for the updates. And uh, the feedback here is that we see that there is a kind of visual cue that is spinning, and it is saying here. So the loop here, what is the loop? If through this process the updating will happen several times, it is doing there. But once it is done and the session is done, then it reset to first state and we need to update it. So the loop here, we can't see it, but it's in the background and it might update it itself several times. Okay, I hope that I covered three different examples to giving you insight about how we can see different micro interactions different places. Maybe so far we were looking at them and we were seeing that, okay, it is a feature. But right now we are seeing that they are more than the features and they are those small details in each steps that make it different and make it more delightful. I would like to stop here from the whole book because I feel that we covered most of the things that we need to incorporate them for the workshop part. And I would like you to unmute yourself if you have any question or if you have any good micro interactions in your mind that you feel that it was missed here and it can be nice to share with others. So this is the time if you have any insight.
Hello.
Hello.
Uh, okay, I'm Mira, and I would like to ask about the boundary between the feature and the micro interaction. Since for me it is not it that clear. For example, the pull to refresh the page. Then, if it's the only way to do that in the app, or well, for example, there is no other button for that, so you can only pull to refresh. Well, is that a feature, or is that like a feature with like the micro interaction that it is the pull instead of a button, or how to divide?
Yes, I got you. Thank you for asking. It's a really good question, and I see that I needed to give more insight here. So, as we discussed, the feature is the core thing of application. So, if if we remove it, then something is missing. And for this pull to refresh, for example, in this mobile phone, you know that time to times we are getting the updates through the system update that okay, it is time to update it. So there is a core feature for that. But if you are a user that you would like to get these updates before that the system is warning you that this is the time to update it, then that's the time that you are pulling to refresh. Or for example, in the Twitter or on the Twitter mobile app phone, uh, there's one way, as an old-fashioned way, to update these kind of whole things by kind of selecting from the menu to refresh. Or there is another way that we can turn it to kind of being more easier for the user by pulling down so it can be refreshed easily. So this is where we can say it's a feature or it's a micro interactions. And another thing that I can just point out here when we are discussing about how to incorporate the micro interactions into our product was that if you see that there is a process as a feature that it's really difficult or it is kind of confusing for user or it can be better, then that's where we can use these kind of micro interactions. So some time to time we might see something that it really seems that it's a feature, but then once we see that, okay, it is making it easier for the user, that's where we are saying that, okay, on the top of that feature, we put a micro interactions as an interaction designer that make it more delightful or easier. Yeah. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, I think yes. Maybe after I see more examples, then I'll fully grasp that. But yeah, I think you answered the question. Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
I actually have one question.
Yes.
So I wasn't aware of the microinteraction before as much as what we're talking about now. So my question is, I think the feature is basically the boundaries, the something bigger than the microinteraction is. So for instance, if we have the purchase on our shopping app, so you
Yes.
can simply just tap on it and then you will go make a purchase.
Mm,
But there are some application that is requesting you to swipe it.
yes.
And does that count as a micro interaction, for instance?
Uh, could you please rephrase again that in this new second approach, what
Yeah.
is that they are asking you?
So basically, let's say the shopping purchasing the shopping will be the feature in this case.
Mm-hmm.
And if you add the swipe feature, I mean swipe function, let's say, could that count as micro interaction?
Yeah. So let's say that the core things about this thing is the user will buy something. So that's the core feature for this service. But once we are making it that, for example, as a visual cue, that you are pressing on plus and you can increase the number of that items for shopping, that's a
Mhm.
micro interaction. So anything that we are adding on the top of a feature, which is a core of this system, then that's
Mm.
the things that we are showing as a micro interaction. Or
Or so
if you, yeah,
micro interaction is basically the part of the feature.
yeah, that make it more kind of delightful and easier to process for the user. For example, once you are clicking on item and you see that there's animation that is just going to your kind of
Mm.
shopping things, that's the micro interactions that it's just giving you. Yeah, the core thing is the same thing that it's just going there, but through the micro interactions, we are giving you a feedback that's happening. Yeah.
Because does that mean it? Because it sounds like the feature is more of developers like a job than
Mm.
where the micro interaction is more of the designer's job.
I would say that it is more to the designers.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
Mhm.
as a interaction designer, you need to think about these things that how they can kind of implement it or how we can add them to our kind of current design and current state of the product that will be more engaging for the user. But definitely then it is to developers
Mhm.
to kind of develop. Yes,
Right. All right. Thank you.
anytime. Okay. Is there any other questions? 5, 4, 3, 2, any more questions?
I have one more thing to say, what I think
Yes.
would be good before we jump into the workshop. I think it would be really nice if you could run us through again uh the loop,
Yeah, sure.
the rules. Yeah.
Sure, definitely. As I mentioned, all of you have access to the presentation anytime that you would like to check it. So the thing is that it's micro interaction. For micro interactions, we need to define 4 things. What is the trigger? That it just triggers the systems to react. It can be a physical, like a button. It can be a touch on a screen, or it can be like an audio, or it can be anything. So something is interrupting our system as a trigger. Then, based on the state of the systems and the type of trigger that we have, we are checking some rules. And based on the rules that we are defining, we are giving some different feedbacks to the user. It can be different feedbacks for one rules or anything like that. So we are not saying that it's just one feedbacks for one rule. And then we are learning from the system. And sometimes it can be just one time loop of triggers, rules, feedbacks, and once the feedback is done, we are again resetting to the kind of ideal state, or it can be just happening times and times, or it needs to stay in this current feedback until something again triggers the system. So during the workshop, please kind of consider these four states that you need to apply through your kind of interaction that you want to kind of design. Now, moving to the workshop sections, that is my favorite part. We are creating the breakout rooms, and we will have 30 minutes for the workshop. So we'll finishing around 7:15, and then one or two teams they can kind of present their outcome, or the micro interaction that they design. For the simplicity, we have two tasks. So it is based on your team's decisions that which task you would like to work. One of them is enhancing the self-checkout experience. So in the grocery or in the H&M, Zara, or wherever that there is a self-checkout, most of the time it is frustrating us as a kind of user that we are interacting with them. It can be for different reasons, or for some kind of elderly people, it can be kind of completely different stage that it will be difficult for them to follow up. That's why here we would like to make this process to be more delightful. So this is task one. And the task two is through the channel updates. For example, for my case in Microsoft Teams, I'm part of different channels. And sometimes I see that, okay, 5 channels, they have the updates, and they have subsections that there's the updates. And when I want to follow up on them, I feel that, oh my God, it's years. And once I'm finishing it again, there will be some more updates. So in this case, it can be nice to kind of designing a micro interactions that help the users to kind of keep updated with this high volume of update these things in Slack or Microsoft Teams, and make it more manageable. And I feel that I'm not having the fear of missing out, because right now I have this kind of feeling. Uh, so these are two tasks. Right now we are 18 people, so it will be group of uh 12, 5 member teams, or three. Yeah, it can be 3 teams as well. And then you will assign to each rooms, and we will just check out, or if you feel any things that we are not in your room, please just ping us in the chat. Is it clear, or would you is there any question?
Hello, can I speak?
Hello. Yes.
Hi, I'm Alessia. I'm real sorry. It's not clear for me because I could see just one task, and you're talking about 3 tasks.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and the other thing that unfortunately it took me like 30 minutes to find out that to join the meeting, I need to install the app to my computer, and it's not. I was not able to connect online, so I was. I missed the whole part about the micro interactions, unfortunately. Do you think would I get through this task without? The details, or can I get the at least the link to the presentation to go through this quickly?
Sure thing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So again, I'm sharing these kind of presentations and the links. About your questions, did you get the 4 stage of designing a micro interactions?
I came just at the end. Sorry.
Okay. So yeah, for each micro interactions, we need to define